Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, host of the Bachelor Recaps, a guy's review. Today's video, I wanted to talk about the Cassie Randolph, Colton Underwood restraining order issue that's going on. Now, if you didn't know, let's catch you back up. On Friday, September 11th, Cassie filed a restraining order in California, and there was a lot of talk. We talked about it on my last video about whether or not she was making this up. Was she lying? Was she over-exaggerating? A lot of people came to Colton's defense. Well, last night, the judge granted that restraining order, and you can't just get a restraining order for no reason. You have to provide evidence, and you're also subject to perjury, which means she had to file court documents where if she were lying, she could be arrested for that. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, you have to forgive my ignorance as a guy. I don't have to deal with crazy exes stalking me. It's not in my neighborhood. It doesn't happen to me. So I feel like a lot of men are blissfully unaware and ignorant to this issue because we have men that can act completely normal in society, completely normal, charitable, this and that, yet can be psychopathic, which I think we're going to learn in this case. Now, at the very end of this video, I'm going to go in and actually look at the court documents, and we'll just review what actually was happening. But first, I just wanted to share some stats with you guys. A recent study examining gender differences in homicide identified a rise in domestic violence murders since 2014. For 40 years, there was just a steady reduction. And then in the U.S., 3 women were being killed by an intimate partner every day. So when people wonder, like, oh, he wasn't doing anything crazy. This happens every day. Over 3 women are murdered by an intimate partner, just in the U.S. alone. And then the figure's going up, closer to 4 women a day almost. At the same time, the number of men who are murdered by an intimate partner has declined. So there's a lot going on here. And if anything, maybe this whole circumstance talking about Cassie and Colton, as horrible and toxic as it is, can shine some light over this really dark issue that hasn't gone away. Even though it's 2020, we're living this empowered movement, Me Too, it hasn't gone away. A woman's life this is what's crazy to me. A woman's life is safer with someone she doesn't know than a man she knows. Let that sink in. According to the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence, intimate partner homicides make up approximately 10% of all U.S. murders. And of those, women comprise approximately 70% of those killed. So all murders, 10% are from intimate partners, and 70% are women being the victims. I mean, this is crazy stuff, guys. Crazy stuff. Now, a lot of people wondered, they were believing Colton, and here's the thing with the Bachelor fan base. A lot of people watching are probably here because you're a fan of the Bachelor fan base. Colton was the Bachelor. He was the top dog. So a lot of times we take defense over the person who is the top dog and don't hear other people's voices. Well, Cassie, just because she went on a dating show, just because this was her second reality show, just because she's an influencer, and they actually had, Colton and Cassie actually had a project in the works being filmed, a reality show about their breakup. Just because all that exists doesn't mean she's not guilty of being stalked and preyed upon by her ex, okay? Everyone in the world should have the right to feel safe, especially at their own home. And we'll see that that's not what happened here. Now, so in California, for the person to be restrained, having a restraining order against him or her can have very serious consequences. He or she will not be able to go to certain places or do certain things. He or she might have to move out of his or her home. It may affect his or her ability to see their children. He or she will generally not be able to own a gun. That's an interesting one. So if you have a restraining order granted against you, you can't own or purchase a gun. Yeah, so a lot of crazy things going on. I reached out to some friends just to ask what they knew about restraining orders. I was surprised how many of my friends have had to file restraining orders or are friends with people that have filed restraining orders. So this is just a topic I guess we haven't been speaking about in society, that people have to literally go to the court to say, I don't want that guy near me anymore, and here are the reasons why. So it was a big deal on Friday when Cassie filed the restraining order. It was an even bigger deal last night when a judge granted the restraining order. Because even though she filed it, the judge looked at the evidence and said, you have a right for a temporary restraining order, and the excuse being prevention of domestic violence. This is heavy stuff, guys, okay? This is heavy stuff. So I've reached out to some friends, and here are their comments. Someone said that in Illinois, they called it an order of protection. Me and my parents spoke about the stalking, and I showed all the text messages and all the phone calls. It sucks, though. If they don't care about going to jail, they'll break it. This was in 2006, so hopefully the laws are better. Good luck. That's the truth. If they don't care about going to jail, what do they care? They'll just break the restraining order. You have to say you feel unsafe. It's scary, though, because you have to say this in front of the person who makes you feel unsafe, and then list the things they did to make you feel this way. They then get the time to say why this isn't the case. Bring any phone records, text messages, emails, security camera footage. Also tell them about places he showed up where he shouldn't have been, even if you don't have pictures or anything, and say, I was in fear. They usually listen. However, if they go a certain time and don't break it, they just dismiss it. Like it worked. Why dismiss it? Make a list of every scary thing they did, every place they showed up, every message they sent. That was in Massachusetts. Every state's different, so if you have an issue within your state, definitely know the laws. Someone said that in most states, reasonable fear of imminent bodily harm can usually get an initial one for a 2-week period, then a more full hearing with evidence. If a judge is convinced, an order can issue for 1 year. So Colton is going to have to come back and defend himself against these allegations, which won't be easy because you'll see in the court documents that he actually admitted to the tracking device. This is wild stuff. This shouldn't be happening in today's world, but because it is, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. A lot of people said, let's wait for the evidence to come out, as if it wasn't enough that she was willing to perjure herself in court to bring this forward. Now, I'm glad we didn't rush to judgment as spectators and gossip, people out here. I'm glad we didn't completely rush to judgment, but the judge got back within 48 hours and he granted the restraining order. So I would like to think that we're all on the same page here, that this is a serious situation. Someone said, not a lawyer, but I help women do this almost every day. You must prove imminent threat and reasonable fear. Isn't this wild that people that aren't lawyers know about this because they've had to take their best friend, their mom, their sister? All right, so here is the court filing. She said, on June 27th, 2020, while Miss Randolph was visiting her family home in Huntington Beach, Mr. Underwood was seen outside the residence. This is what's crazy. He lives in Los Angeles, and he's driving to Huntington Beach to be outside her residence. And in one instance, they said they saw him in her alleyway at her parents' home at 2 a.m. This is wild. If you don't know Los Angeles, Huntington Beach is a serious hour drive away. You're not just driving through on your way home from In-N-Out and figured you just stroll through the neighborhood. This is borderline psychotic. They said between August 16th and 19th, unbeknownst to Ms. Randolph, Mr. Underwood also used alias phone numbers to anonymously send harassing text messages at all hours of the day to Ms. Randolph and to her friends. Mr. Underwood also sent harassing text messages to himself, pretending to also be a victim of the anonymous stalker. This is like some weird cop movie where you're the bad guy and you shoot yourself in the shoulder to prove that it wasn't you. This is wild stuff. It goes on. And then finally, they show some of these text messages. So basically, she hired a private investigator because she thought that it was weird that he knew all of her whereabouts because she was getting all these text messages. Here was a text message she got from the anonymous number that ended up being him. He admitted to this, guys. This isn't, let's wait for the evidence to come out. He admitted to this. She said, you like playing, this is the text message from the anonymous person. You like playing games, huh? Let's play some games then. Let's just say we used to be family friends. Be young. Have your good time. ... You'll have nothing but regrets later with how you treat people. Smiley face. The next message. Totally seems like you're growing up. LOLZ. Living at home still. Whoa. So this is intimidating like 101. This is pretty wild stuff. On August 19th, 2020, due to the harassing text messages that evidence knowledge of Miss Randolph's whereabouts on multiple occasions, Miss Randolph and her family thought that someone might be tracking her and decided to check Miss Randolph's car for a tracker. Miss Randolph and her family discovered a tracking device taped to the bottom of the back bumper of her car. The discovery of the device was shocking and caused Miss Randolph severe distress. If you're a judge, you look at this information and then you see the photo evidence of the tracking device, you go, that's it. So right now, there's a 100-yard restraining order. He can't come within 100 yards of her, which is ironic because 100 yards is also the length of a football field, which is his previous job, and he's no longer allowed on that. It's very strange, folks. Very strange. But these are the times, and it's time we start talking about this. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And by all means, I've had people reach out to me, private messages that have been victims, this and that. I'm probably not your best bet for someone to talk to, but if you have nowhere else to go and you want to be pointed in the right direction, if you are having issues like this, let me know. I think you'll be surprised that when you do decide to talk to somebody and have a confidant, I think you'll find that people are very willing to help out. And I think the majority of people in this world are level-headed and normal and want to help each other out. But what we have here is an instance where a guy, he's what, 28? He's probably lived his whole life never being told no. He was a virgin before then, and you'd almost, I don't know what's going through his head, but you would almost want to think that he sees her as a possession and not a person. And that's what's really scary. He sees her as something he can have whenever he wants. He's not entitled to walking into her alley or looking through her windows and knowing who she has over. And even if she was talking to her ex while they were dating, gentlemen, here's a little pro tip for you from an old dog over here. If a girl does cheat on you, if she is seeing someone else, if she's not 100% committed to the relationship, turn around and walk away. Okay? If there's no trust there, you're not going to find it by proving them wrong. You know, it's not like they own a house and have a family together where he has to prove that she was cheating on him so he doesn't have to pay her alimony or some crazy made-up story. None of that. She just isn't that into you, bro. But I really want to hear you explain yourself. I hope that people really hold Colton to this, to explaining every action and making this a teachable moment. Seriously. His reps already came back and said, oh, it's an ongoing matter, so we can't talk about it. Okay, but the truth will surface, and I hope Bachelor Nation doesn't just, cancel him completely. I do want that to happen, but I do want them to kind of hear everything from his side, and maybe we can get to this obsessiveness and find out what that's all about. I think we all owe it, and I think his victim, and I think all victims out there owe an explanation for why they can't go to sleep at night feeling completely safe in their own home. It's America, folks. It's 2020. Let's do better. All right, so if you like this video, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be recapping the Bachelor season, the Bachelorette season that's coming up, and I got a whole bunch of other videos, podcasts, stand-up, and all that. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and let's all just do better, folks, okay?